Bring in Brent Barry, the NBA on TV analyst. Hey, how are you, Brent?
Good morning, Dan. I was almost feeling like I shouldn't call after the way Fitzy took down the mood of the show.
Yeah, I hope you can lift it up a little bit here.
Well, I'm going to try my best. Good morning to Paul Seaton and Shalomi homies. Yeah, it was hard to take, but I was actually getting some breakfast tacos here in San Antonio, and with a cup of coffee, I'm ready to go.
All right, I watched last night, and the Pacers to me have been stupid in this series. That they played well, they fought hard, they played well in Miami, came back home, statement game, all that nonsense, and then all of a sudden we're shooting threes and talking junk, and you're on the verge of being shown the door here. What the hell happened with the Pacers after Game 3?
Well, I wonder, Dan. I mean, you can't discount the fact that LeBron James and Dwayne Wade went multi-ball on them in Game 4. I mean, they had incredible performances against them, and you just, I guess, in the time frame between that Game 4 and Game 5, maybe the Pacers realized just what kind of greatness is about when it comes to the playoffs. These are a lot of guys, and a great group of guys. Larry Bird has talked about all year long about how much they get along, but they have not yet achieved much together. Even Danny Granger, I know you're making some comments about Danny showing up and being a star player. This is not a stage that really he has been on before, and I'm not so sure that he's quite ready to handle that. And the way the Heat have played the last couple games, it's kind of one of those things where it makes you turn your head and realize just how great LeBron James and Dwayne Wade are to be able to carry the team over. But yes, it was a hockey game sort of broke out in the basketball game last night, and some despicable fouls, especially the one by Pittman. I agree with you. He should be suspended for what he did, especially winking at the bench after the elbow thrown to Stevenson. A shoddy play there.
The Haslam foul on Hansbrough, you knew there was going to be retaliation, but as a player, are you guys warned after a hard foul, both benches warned to say, we're not going to let this get out of hand, and if I see something, I'm going to run you? Does that happen in a game like this?
Without a doubt, referees who start to see some of that, can I use chippy?
Absolutely.
Chippiness?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or should we use aggressively belligerent? What happens is refs will make mention of it, but you can't, like the smartest guys, some of the most aggressive, smartest professional players that do play dirty, get away with those plays away from the ball. You know, you don't do that on a play where a guy is attempting a shot. All the referees are looking at the position of the players, but mostly at the guy with possession of the basketball. So the fact that Haslam decided to do it against Hansbrough while he was attempting a field goal, maybe not the best decision. There's plenty of times when Hansborough's mucking it up down low with Haslam that he could get away with something or do something to him there to let him know, hey, don't touch Dwayne Wade. Don't get in LeBron's way. I'm just going to let you know I'm here, and I saw what you did, and I'm going to let you know I'm here for you.
What about Hansborough's play on Wade?
I didn't have so much a problem with that. I mean, Hansbrough makes those kind of plays in practice against his own teammates where he's aggressive. That's the way he plays. And, yeah, it was aggressive after the fact, but he went for the ball. And the way that Wade contorted and was sort of moving on the way down, there was no way for him to stop his motion from knocking Dwayne Wade in the head. He didn't expect his head to be where it was. So an aggressive foul and a playoff foul, most certainly, but I don't think it was anything that was over the top.
And that's what I say to people, because having seen what the Heat and Knicks used to do, the bad boy Pistons, even Kevin McHale taking down Kurt Rambis, I know there are hard fouls, but then there are also there's stupid fouls. And I guess there's a fine line with you guys who played the game where, okay, I get it. You're going to hit me hard. I understand it. Jordan got beat to death when he played against the Pistons. I mean, that's how they came up with the Jordan rules. Today's basketball compared to the 80s or 90s.
Not even close as to how physical they let the game go. I mean, they changed the rules because of the way Pat Riley was operating his teams and the way that Chuck Daly was operating the Pistons teams. They had 4 or 5 years of enough of that stuff, that there wasn't enough scoring, there wasn't enough of the poetry in motion basketball that so many fans had become accustomed to. So they made rule changes to allow for more freedom of movement. They even still talk about it, as the rules committees get together and referees watch plays, they still talk about allowing the athletes to have the room on the court to make plays. So I agree with you, Dan. There's a difference between physical play and sheer stupidity. And we saw a couple of plays last night that might qualify as stupid.
Yeah, here we were talking about flopping. The commissioner's concerned about flopping. I think he may want to change his tone. We're talking to Brent Barry, NBA on TNT. TNT has the exclusive coverage of the 2012 Western Conference Finals. What do you think game-wise? Hansbrough, Haslam, Pittman, who gets suspended or fined or suspended?
Pittman, I think, is that's a suspendable act, what Pittman did. And if you called the Hansbrough-Haslam thing even, I would have to disagree with that. I think Haslam, maybe a fine for him. I mean, the Heat, let's face it, the Heat cannot suffer another loss at that position. So, I don't know if he's going to get suspended, but a hefty fine for sure could be coming down. Stu's got some interesting decisions, as he does every year in the playoffs, Stu Jackson, as to what he's going to do. But Pittman, I would think, is going to warrant himself a suspension.
I had a couple items here. Let me go into Orlando. If you're Dwight Howard, if Dwight Howard's leaving, why fire Stan Van Gundy?
Yeah, that's really an interesting question. If they don't believe that without Dwight Howard that you can't run the same system. I mean, they were a outside-in team with the best inside guy that could pass out. Didn't understand why they would, think about trading Dwight after the fact that they get rid of Stan and they're going to change the offensive system maybe around him. So if Dwight is leaving, I don't know, you're talking about a major shift in personnel, psychology, style of play. It's just a whole revamping of the Orlando Magic. So I'm not sure on that. I mean, Stan did a really good job down in Orlando. Sort of changed a lot, Dan, if you look at it, the idea about using the three-point line in the NBA. I mean, really firing a bunch of threes as opposed to long twos. And, you can go into sort of the sabermetric statistical stuff about the way people talk about using the three to your advantage. I mean, Stan was really the guy who said, all right, we're going to try this. We got Dwight inside. He'll protect and score in the post, and we're going to surround him with a bunch of shooters. And they had some good success with it.
What do you do with the Lakers?
I don't know, I defend Pau Gasol a lot more than most people would. I believe that he's the most talented player on that team. I mean, he's the most complete player that's still on that team. If you look at his numbers this year, Dan, he was 1.3 points off of his career numbers in terms of scoring. He averaged 10 rebounds and 10.4 rebounds, which is second best of his career. And yes, I know he had a struggle in the playoffs, but for the last 4 or 5 years, he's played in a system that really allowed him to play on the inside. I don't know how many times I found Pau Gasol in positions during this year's playoffs and regular season where he was guessing as to what it is that he was supposed to do with the ball. And, that's a direct correlation for what the Lakers went through in terms of changing their coach and changing the triangle. You find Pau Gasol out on the wing on the right side in that game where he makes the turnover, and people are criticizing what he could and should be doing. I don't know that I saw him in the triangle offense over 4 or 5 seasons in that spot. So some of it has to do with how he's used. The Lakers definitely need a revamping. They need to address some issues with Andrew Bynum. I mean, that's their biggest issue. What are they going to do with Bynum? How much are they going to commit to Andrew Bynum? How long can they wait between Kobe wanting to win another ring and Andrew Bynum getting on the maturity bus and figuring out what this league is about? That's really the biggest issue for them.
I know you played with the Spurs, and they like to keep everything top secret there with Popovich and just the whole style and philosophy. Does Pop tell everybody to be boring, not to do anything, say anything? Is it just assumed that that's sort of the philosophy there, that we are doing our best to be under the radar?
Not really. You just look at the character of the type of players that Popovich and R.C. Buford always go out and do diligent homework on, and you think about the people that they bring in, they just don't really rock the boat too much in terms of personality and personnel. And it starts with Tim. I mean, Tim is a model citizen, and everybody thinks that Tim is really boring. And on the court, he tends to be, but he's pretty effective. He's pretty effective, and really that's where it all starts. I remember, Dan, when I first signed with San Antonio back in the summer of 2005, I was headed to the practice facility. It was the dead of summer. It was July 10th, 12th, something like that. I walked into RC's office, and he had the blinds shut in his office, but I could hear a ball pounding on the practice court. I hadn't been in the facility before, didn't know how the setup was. So RC and I were sitting there having a chat. He got up and grabbed a water, and as he got up to get a water, I was standing by the glass window with the blinds. So I kind of peeked. I wanted to see what was going on, so I peeked through. Here it is, July 15th, and Tim Duncan is in there with one of the video minions that has a pad on his arm and is railing into Tim on the left block, shooting jump hooks for 45 minutes during the middle of the summer. And I thought, as I closed that little blind and RC sat back down, I thought to myself, well, this could be pretty good. This could be a good spot to come and play some games.
Before I let you go, why is it that Duncan and KG hate each other?
I don't know. Is it maybe just the fact that they're just so different in terms of their personality? But KG would yell right in Tim's face during game. Like you were there. He would be right in Tim's face, trying to get a rise out of him. Well, maybe I don't know. I might not like somebody who's yelling in my face either. But why would he do that to Duncan? I don't know. It has no effect. I can tell you that. It's the same thing with Shaq. Like, Tim would always go, I know I'm not going to get the credit. It's always going to be these other guys. But he seemed to be okay with that. But the question is this. Best player of this generation, if I said pick between Kobe and Tim Duncan. Wow. That's such a great question. Put that on the poll. Would you, McLevin? Who is it? He just gave you a thumbs up. Yeah, he said, all right. I love it. Yeah, gosh. Boy, if Tim wins another one, it's hard to – if you go look at numbers, Dan, yep. Tim has not played minutes. Like, I know he's played a lot of minutes, but every year Pop does not feature Tim Duncan as the guy. He does not say, Tim, take 25 shots. Brent, just make a pick. Tim. Oh, you went home court. Okay. That's fine. Well, I live in town. Okay, last time I didn't give you bands, and I felt terrible. I felt like Fitzy did moments ago. All right, give me a couple. Give a couple? Yeah, give me a couple. Beach House. The album is Bloom. They're from Baltimore. Really good, dark and dreamy, hypnotic, sort of like this show. Seaton is nodding his head in support. Yes. Okay. Memory House, kind of in the same vein. Album is called Slideshow Effect. Okay. Pretty good. From Ontario. Okay. Alabama Shakes. They're very good. Out of Alabama, not bad. And then kind of maybe a little cosmic rap. There's a group called, it's under Sub Pop, but it's C Satisfaction. No, it's a weird name, but not a bad listen. So Memory Hotel or Memory House? Memory House, Beach House, Alabama Shakes. And C Satisfaction, Thee Satisfaction. The album is called All Natural. Okay, and lastly, Dan, I want to send you guys some shirts from this company in Portland. A buddy of mine works there. They're called $1 Million Ballers. Shameless plug. But I want to send something your way. So can you have Fitzy send me the address to the studio? All right. And some sizes? Will do. We'll get Sandler a double X. Thank you, Brent. All right, Dan. See you, buddy. That's Brent Barry, NBA TV. Big fan of the show. Seaton, some music there for you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Alabama Shakes. The nice little write-up in Rolling Stone this issue.